never staying. Even when you held my hand, your eyes were always searching for a life you never planned. I learned to read your silence better than your truth. Every time you said I'm fine, I felt myself lose you. I kept waiting for a moment you'd finally choose us two. But love can't live on hope alone when it's only coming from you. You let me love you alone, like that was fair somehow. I gave you all my tomorrow, you only lived in now. I carried all the weight while you stayed halfway gone. You didn't break my heart loudly, you let me love you alone. I defended you in private when my heart was breaking down. I made your distance make sense so I wouldn't turn around. Your touch felt more like habit than something you still felt. I was losing parts of myself, just trying to keep you held. I asked myself what I did wrong, why I was never enough. But love shouldn't feel like proving or begging someone to love. You let me love you alone while you slowly let go. I stay loyal to a feeling you stopped wanting to know. I built a home inside your heart you never planned to own. You didn't leave all at once, you let me love you alone. If loving you was patience, I gave more than I should. I stayed when it was empty because the memories were good. I don't hate you for leaving, I hate how long I stayed. Believing love was something I could give enough to save. You let me love you alone, but I'm learning how to stop, not by forgetting who you were, but by letting myself drop. I won't beg for half a heart, I won't chase what's already gone. You didn't lose me suddenly, you let me love you alone. Some people don't walk away, they just stop coming close. And the loneliest kind of heartbreak is loving someone the most. You held my hand a little tighter the night you decided to leave, like you were trying to soften what you already knew would break me. You said this isn't your fault, but you couldn't look in my eyes. Love shouldn't feel like an ending before the goodbye. I felt you drifting for weeks, I just pretended you weren't gone. I was fixing cracks in the walls while you were packing up your heart. You loved me on the way out like guilt wrapped in goodbye. You kissed me like a memory, not like I was still your life. I was still choosing us, you were choosing yourself. You loved me on the way out, then left me here by myself. fence knows your name. Every room feels unfinished, like love forgot to stay. They say people change sometimes, but you changed in slow retreat. You didn't stop loving me suddenly, you just stopped choosing me. I would have fought through anything if you had stayed to try, but you were already healing while I was learning how to survive. You love me on the way out, just enough to ease your pain. I held on to every moment you were already letting fade. You said I'd be okay, like that was your excuse. You love me all the way out, because staying felt too hard for you. If loving you meant losing me, I still would have stayed, because I believed in forever more than you believed in change. I don't hate you for leaving, I hate how kind you were. It made the truth feel softer, but the damage feel worse. You love me on the way out, and I felt it every time. The gentle voice, those careful words were already past tense in your mind. I'm not angry, I'm just empty where your love used to be. You love me on the way out, and that's what's killing me. Some people don't leave cold, they leave with tenderness. And that kind of goodbye is the hardest one to forget. You said you were just tired, said life had been too loud, but I could hear the distance in the way you talked about us. You stopped sharing your thoughts, started keeping them inside. I kept reaching for your heart while you were learning how to hide. I trusted what we used to be more than what I saw. I kept believing love was strong enough to fix it all. I loved you more than you knew, more than I could say. I stayed through all the silence while you slowly slipped away. I gave you all my patience, every broken truth. You didn't see how much it hurt. I loved you more than you knew. More than you knew. Your touch felt unfamiliar, like something I should fear. I missed the way you held me, like you actually wanted me here. They say love should feel like safety, not guessing every night, but I kept choosing hope while you chose a different life. You called it finding yourself, I called it losing me. Two people in the same room, living different realities. I loved you more than you knew while you were letting go. I was fighting for forever, you were already moving on. I didn't ask for perfection, I just asked for truth, but you never saw the damage. now, keep the parts that mattered. Release what wasn't true. You may never feel this pain, but I loved you more than you knew. But I loved you more than you knew. Some loves aren't meant to last. They're meant to teach you truth, that sometimes loving deeply means losing someone you choose. I felt you slipping through my hands long before you said goodbye. You stopped saying my name the same, started looking me in the eye. I kept fixing what was breaking, like love was just a phase. But you were already somewhere else, counting down your days. I called it distance, you called it space. I called it fear, you called it fate. I was holding on to what we were. You were learning how to escape. I let you go too late. I held on too long. I kept believing we were strong when you were already gone. I begged my heart to wait for love to change its mind, but you didn't leave all at once. You left me over time. Yeah, I let you go too late. Your laughter turned in a habit. Your touch felt borrowed at best. You loved me out of kindness, not out of your chest. I slept beside your silence like it wouldn't break my heart. I stayed for every reason. You left without a scar. You said I deserve better, like this softened the truth. But loving you was never easy. It was just something I chose. I let you go too late. I fought what couldn't stay. I love the version of you that already faded away. You found peace in leaving. I found pain in trying. I let you go too late, and that's how love keeps dying. If loving you was patience, I had more than I should. I kept forgiving your distance because the memories were good. I don't hate you for choosing yourself. I just wish you were honest with me, that your heart was already gone while mine was still believing. I let you go too late, but I loved you on time with everything I had and every piece of my mind. Now I'm learning how to breathe without waiting for your name. I didn't lose you suddenly, I just stayed through the pain. Yeah, I let you go too late. Some loves don't end in flames, they fade in quiet regret. I didn't lose you when you left, I lost you when I couldn't let go yet. You didn't leave all at once. He disappeared in pieces. A little less offered each day, a little more unfinished sentences. You said you were still here, but your eyes were somewhere else. I kept pretending I was okay, lying to myself. I felt the truth in every pause, but I was scared to know. I let you hurt me gently so I wouldn't lose you fast. I accepted half a love just to make the moment last. You never meant to break me, but you broke me all the same. I let you hurt me gently, and I still said you're a man. I learned how to read your moves, like whether I couldn't change. I adjusted all my feelings just to keep you safe. I stopped asking for more, stop needing too much. Love shouldn't feel like silence or fear in someone's touch. I was slowly disappearing just to keep you near. I let you hurt me gently, called it understanding. I kept lowering the bar while you stopped demanding. You said I never promised forever, but I stayed the same. I let you hurt me gently till nothing felt okay. If love is meant to feel like home, why did I feel like the guest? Why did I have to earn the things I once received in my best? I don't hate you for leaving, I hate how I stayed. When loving you felt lonely and hope slowly decayed. I let you hurt me gently because I loved you deep. I thought patience could save us, but patience doesn't keep. No, I'm learning how to choose myself without guilt, without fear. I let you hurt me gently, but I won't stay here. Some pain doesn't scream or shatter, it quietly stays. When love fades slowly and no one says goodbye. You were already leaving before I felt the change. Your words still sounded like love, but your heart wasn't the same. You held me like a habit, not like something you lose. I was still building a future, you were already cutting me loose. Oh, I trusted what you said more than what you showed. I believed in every promise, even when your distance grew cold. I loved you after you were gone, when your touch didn't feel like home. I stayed when it was obvious I was loving you alone. You found peace in letting go, I found pain defended you in silence when my heart knew the truth. I kept explaining your absence like that was something love should do. Your name still lives in places I don't visit anymore. Every memory feels heavier than it ever did before. You said nothing has changed, but I felt it every night. Love doesn't disappear suddenly, it just stops fighting. I loved you after you were gone, when the damage was already done. I was begging for your presence, you were chasing something else to run from. You didn't break me loudly, you broke me slow and calm. I loved you after you were gone. If loving you was patience, I had too much to spare. I stayed past every warning sign because I thought you still cared. I don't blame you for leaving, I blame myself for the hope, for loving the idea of us when you had already let go. I loved you after you were gone, and that's the hardest part. I kept giving you my whole heart when you'd already withdrawn yours. I'm learning how to forgive myself for staying so long. I loved you after you were gone. Some hearts leave early, some stay too late. I didn't lose you in goodbye, I lost you in the wait. I watched you change without a sound, standing right in front of me. Your eyes were somewhere far away, even when you looked at me. I learned your mood, your fading tone, the way your touch go cold. I stayed and loved you oh carefully, like love could be controlled. I didn't need a goodbye to know you were already gone. Love doesn't end with words, it ends when you stop holding on. I loved you in silence, so you wouldn't feel the weight. I swallowed every question, every fear, every ache. I let you drift away while I stayed the same. You never heard my heart break. I loved you in silence. I told myself you were tired, that life just got too hard. I made excuses for your absence, so I wouldn't face my heart. Your laughter felt like memory before you ever left. I was already grieving you with you right next to me. You said nothing's wrong, but I felt the truth inside. Love doesn't need a reason to know when it's denied. I loved you in silence, how you learned how to let go. I held on to the pieces you didn't want anymore. I never made a scene, I never begged your name. You walked away untouched. I loved you in silence. If loving you was lonely, I never said a word. I chose to lose myself so you wouldn't feel hurt. I don't hate you for leaving, I hate how well I that I was breaking slowly just to keep you comfortable. I love you in silence, but it still broke me down. I smiled through the ending, while my heart was burning out. I won't carry this forever, I won't stay this way. But you should know one thing, I loved you every day. Yeah, I loved you in silence. You smelled like everything was fine, but your eyes were never home. You slept right next to me at night, yet I never felt so alone. Your words were soft, your touch was cold, like habits you kept alive. I was loving you with everything, you were barely trying to try. I ignored the truth in every sign, because love made me blind. I loved you when you were already gone, when your heart had moved on without me. I held on to every maybe, while you were finally free. You said you didn't mean to hurt me, but you stayed and let it bleed. I loved you when you were already gone, and that's what broke me. I blame the distance, blame the time, blame the nights we didn't speak. I kept lowering my expectations just to make your love feel deep. You stopped fighting for us slowly, so I wouldn't hear the sound of the moment I realized I was the only one still around. I was saving what we had. You were learning how to leave. I loved you when you were already gone, still calling your name in my sleep. You were halfway out the door. I was too afraid to see. You promised me you cared, but care shouldn't feel this weak. I loved you when you were already gone, and it shattered me. If love is supposed to feel safe, why did I feel replaced? Why did I have to beg for things that used to come so easy? I don't regret loving you, I regret how I stayed when every part of you was leaving and mine was screaming your name. I loved you when you were already gone, when staying hurt more than goodbye. I kept choosing us alone, while you chose a different life. Now I'm learning how to let you go without losing what's left of me. I loved you when you were already gone. Now I'm setting myself free. Some love doesn't end with closure, some ends quietly in pain. One heart keeps remembering, the other forgets your name. You used to look at me like home, like I was where you'd land. Now every kiss feels borrowed, like it's slipping from your hands. I learned your silence by heart. Every pause, every sigh, you stopped saying my name like you were practicing goodbye. I kept holding on to memories while you were letting go of me. I stayed longer than your love did, longer than your truth. I kept fighting for us while you were halfway through. You said you didn't wanna hurt me, but you already knew. I stayed longer than you loved it, and it broke me in two. I blame the nights, blame the stress, blame the world outside, anything but the truth that you were gone inside. I made excuses for your distance, called it just a phase, but love shouldn't feel like begging or counting better days. I was building something real, you were learning how to leave. I stayed longer than your love did, believed every lie. You were slowly disappearing, standing right by my side. You said give it time, we're okay, but your heart already moved. I stayed longer than you loved it, because I loved you true. If loving you meant losing myself, I guess that's what I chose. I would've walked through fire for you while you avoided the smoke. I don't hate you for leaving, I hate how I stayed when loving you felt lonely and hope felt misplaced. for you. I stayed longer than you loved it, but I'm finally through. Some love doesn't end in screaming, some ends quiet and slow. One heart still believing, the other already knows. You said my name like it was safe, like it still meant something true. But every time you held my hand, your heart was slipping through. I felt the distance in your eyes, even when you were close. You smiled like nothing was wrong, but love already knows. I kept fixing what you never tried to say. I kept believing every word you couldn't say. You loved me while you were leaving, held me while letting go. I was building something real, you were already alone. You promised me forever, but forever felt rehearsed. You loved me while you were leaving, and I loved you at my worst. Your silence grew between us like a wall I couldn't break. I blame myself for everything that wasn't my mistake. You said you needed time to think, but I knew what that meant. You were finding life without me, while I was still all in. I was fighting for a heartbeat, you were listening for none. You loved me while you were leaving, like it softened the goodbye. You stayed just long enough so I wouldn't see you lie. I gave you all my patience, you gave me your escape. You loved me while you were leaving, and I loved you too late. If love is supposed to feel safe, why did I feel afraid to ask if you were still here with me, or just wearing a mask? I don't regret loving you, I regret how I stayed when your heart had already gone and mine begged you to stay. You loved me while you were leaving, I felt it but I lied. I told myself it was distance, not a slow goodbye. Now I'm learning how to breathe without hope in your return. You loved me while you were leaving, and I loved you enough to burn. Some love doesn't end in anger, some just fades in pain when one heart is already gone and the other still says your name. You laughed like you were staying, like you had nowhere else to be. Your heart was always packing long before you left me. I trusted all your comfort, every will be fine, not knowing you were counting days while I was counting signs. I thought love was patience, I didn't hold on. I didn't know you were ready, learning how to be gone. I loved you without knowing you were halfway out the door. I gave you all my future, you didn't want it anymore. You held me like a said goodbye. I loved you without knowing you were already saying goodbye. Your silence spoken out, your touch forgot my name. You said you needed space to breathe. I learned how that feels like pain. They say love shouldn't feel like guessing or hoping every night, but I kept choosing what we were. You chose a different life. You stopped fighting for us quietly. I stayed and fought alone. I was still building something real. You were already moving on. I loved you without knowing you were letting go of me. I kept believing in your words. You believed in being free. I didn't see the ending till it was too late to choose. I loved you without knowing that loving me was something you lose. If loving you was blindness, I never wanted sight. I chose to trust your promises over every warning sign. I don't hate you for leaving. I hate the way it felt to realize I was the only one still choosing us myself. I loved you without knowing, but I loved you all the way, with everything I had inside and nothing held in place. I'm learning how to forgive myself for loving something true. I didn't lose you suddenly. I lost the version I ever believed in of you. Some hearts don't break in moments, they break in slow reveal. When you realize the love you gave was the only love that was real. I notice how your sadness grew longer than your reply. I'm just tired, slowly learned to send like goodbye. You stopped asking how my day went, stopped fighting when we fell. I was trying to save us both, you were saving yourself. I kept calling it a phase, something time and numbed. But love doesn't disappear once it ends in little ends. I stayed when love was even, and your heart wasn't here. I held on to every promise you no longer feared. I was still choosing us while you were choosing relief. You didn't break my heart suddenly, you left it underneath. Yeah, I stayed when love was leaving. Your touch felt like a memory before you were gone. I sat beside the distance, wondering what I'd done wrong. They say let you feel like shelter, not standing in the rain. But I learned how to call it love while it was hurting me. You said this isn't easy, found peace in letting go. I found truth in the grief. I didn't lose you in the ending. I lost you underneath. If loving you was weakness, then I was never strong. I stayed loyal to a feeling you'd already moved beyond. I don't hate you for choosing yourself. I hid out all my mistakes. Believing love was patience, not learning when to walk away. I stayed when love was leaving, but I won't stay the same. I'm learning how to let go without carrying the blame. I gave you all I had, even when it hurt to breathe. I stayed when love was leaving. Now I'm leaving it with me. You smiled like nothing was wrong, like your heart wasn't already gone. I memorized the way you lied by telling me you'd hold on. You talked about the future like I was still inside, but every word felt borrowed from the love that already died. I felt the distance growing in the spaces when you'd speak. You stopped asking how I felt, like my heart was obsolete. I was still loving you when you were learning how to leave. I was fighting for the truth. You were searching for relief. I gave you all my patience. You gave me less than you knew. I was still loving you when loving me was through. Your phone was always face down, your eyes were somewhere else. You said you needed time alone, but you just needed yourself. I blame myself for everything. I try to change my shape, but love shouldn't feel like begging or learning how to wait. I stayed when it was breaking, you left before it showed. I thought we were surviving, but you were letting go. I was still loving you with my whole heart exposed. You were halfway out the door. I was holding us close. You said I deserve better, but you never tried to be. I was still loving you while you were losing me. If love is supposed to be equal, why was I alone at the end? Why did I have to convince you to love me back again? You didn't leave in anger, You left in quiet truth, and that's the kind of ending that leaves nothing to undo. I was still loving you, like he could change your mind, like love was just a moment you remember in time. Now I'm learning how to breathe without reaching for you. I was still loving you, and that's what broke me in two. Some hearts break loudly, some just fall apart inside. I didn't lose you suddenly, I lost you over time. You started saying my name like it hurt to say it out loud. You looked right through me, like I was fading in the crowd. We shared the same four walls, but lived in different worlds. You were already letting go, I was still holding us. I felt the ending in your silence before you ever spoke. I was still there when you left, still believing every word. I was loving you completely, you were loving me in parts. You said you didn't need to hurt me, but you knew what you were doing. I was still there when you left, and that's what ruined me. I thank myself for your distance, for the way you pulled it away. I kept fixing things that weren't broken, just so you'd wanna stay. I turned my pain into patience, made excuses for your bell. Love shouldn't feel like proving what you're worth without a sound. I was fighting for a future you had already erased. I was still there when you left, still choosing us alone. You were already moving on, I was trying to hold on. You held my hand through the ending, like that made it okay. I was still there when you left, and I felt every step away. Flooding you meant losing myself. I get it without fear, I would've stayed through anything. You just stopped being here. I don't hate you for leaving, I hate how you stayed on enough to keep my hope alive, then walked away. I was still there when you left, and goodbye was unspoken. You were already free inside. Are we still broken? I'm learning how to breathe again without waiting for your return. I was still there when you left, but I won't stay where I've been. Some love doesn't end in anger, Some ends quietly in pain, one heart still holding on, the other forgetting your name. You were right beside me, but somewhere else inside. Your body was still here. Your love had already died. You listened, but you didn't hear. You touched me like a habit. I felt the truth in everything you never said but meant. I kept asking what was wrong. You kept saying I'm just tired. You stayed, but your heart didn't. It left me long before you did. I was loving you completely. You were slowly uncommitted. You said you still cared, but care shouldn't feel this thin. You stayed, but your heart didn't. And that's where it ended. I blame myself for your distance, for the silence in your eyes. I tried to be easier to love, just to keep you by my side. I learned how to hold my tears so you wouldn't feel the weight. But love shouldn't feel like shrinking just to make someone stay. I was holding on to promises you had already broken. You stayed, but your heart didn't. You smiled, but you were gone. I was fighting for a future. You stopped believing it long ago. You said give it time, we're fine. But I felt the truth within. You stayed, but your heart didn't. And I felt every inch. If loving you meant losing myself, I did it without a sound. I would've stayed through anything. You just stopped turning around. I don't hate you for leaving. I hate how you stayed long enough to keep my hope alive. Then more still fade. You stayed, but your heart didn't. I loved what wasn't there. I kept choosing you every day. You stopped choosing to care. Now I'm learning how to let go of the version of you I believed. You stayed, but your heart didn't. And it finally set me free. Finally set me free. Finally set me free. Some goodbyes don't need words. They happen quietly when one heart is already gone and the other still believes. reach for the silence where your breathing used to be. The coffee's getting colder, and it's only me. I found your favorite sweater in the back of the hall. It still smells like the Sunday mornings when we had it all. Now the floorboards only creak when I walk alone, in a house that's forgotten how to be a home. It's the way the light hits the empty glass, counting every second that I shouldn't let pass. I'm a ghost in the rooms where we used to dance. And oh, it's the quiet that kills me the most, chasing a shadow, loving a ghost. You're a song on the radio I can't turn off, a jagged little breath in a heavy cough. I'm learning to breathe in a world without you, but every heartbeat is a lie I'm telling through and through. Your side of the bed is a desert of white. I stay on the edge just to make it through the night. I saw your car at the light, or at least I thought I did. Just another ghost story I keep safely hid. The world keeps moving like nothing has changed, while every brick in my chest has been rearranged. And oh, it's the quiet that kills me the most, chasing a shadow, loving a ghost. You're a song on the radio I can't turn off, a jagged little breath in a heavy cough. I'm learning to breathe in a world without you, but every heartbeat is a lie I'm telling through and through. They say time is a healer, but time is a thief. It steals the memories just to give you relief. But I don't wanna heal if it means I forget the way that you looked when we first met. I'd rather stay broken than be whole without the weight of you. That's long past due, long past due. The echo of your sigh is all I have left tonight. I stop telling people your name like it doesn't still live in my chest. I laugh at the right moments now, but I never feel my best. Your side of the bed stays empty, but I still sleep close to the edge. Like if I leave a little space, you might come back instead. I held on longer than I should. You let go right on time. I was learning how to love. You were learning how to leave me behind. I learned to miss you quietly, so no one sees me fall. I break down in the silence. I don't cry where people call. I smile like I'm healing, but that's only what I show. I loved you loud and endlessly. Now I miss you slow. Yeah, I learned to miss you quietly. Your memory still finds me in the middle of my day, in songs and streets and strangers' eyes that look at me your way. They say I dodged a heartbreak, but they don't know the truth. I lost the future I believed in, the one I saw with you. You walked away like it was a lie, like it didn't leave a scar. I stayed behind with all the weight of who we really were. I learned to miss you quietly, like pain with better manners. I learned how to breathe alone and answer I'm okay faster. I don't beg your memory, I don't chase your ghost, but loving you is still the thing I feel the most. Yeah, I learned to miss you quietly. If loving you was weakness, then I was never strong. I stayed when it was breaking. You were already gone. I don't hate you for choosing peace, I just wish you chose me too. Some people teach you how to love by showing what not to do. I learned to miss you quietly, but it still hurts the same. I carry you in empty rooms and conversations with your name. I'm not waiting for you anymore, but part of me still stays. I loved you in a way that changed me, and I'll never love that way. Yeah, I learned to miss you quiet. Yeah, I learned to miss you quiet. Some loves don't fade with time, they fade with understanding. That not every heart you give yourself to is meant to keep you. We used to talk for hours. Now we talk to fill the space. Your voice is still familiar, but your love has lost its place. You don't look at me the same when I'm standing right here. It's like you're already gone, but I'm pretending you're near. I keep waiting for a moment that already passed. We didn't and we just faded. No words, no goodbye. Just two hearts slowly changing. Well, 10 walked by. I kept hoping to notice I was slipping away. We didn't and we just faded, and that hurts more to say. I learned how to read your silence, like it was something I should know. Every pause, every distance, every sign you wouldn't show. I lowered all my expectations, so loving you wouldn't hurt. But life shouldn't feel like surviving, or wonder what I'm worth. I was fighting for forever. You were tired of trying. We didn't and we just faded, like the sun turned to low. You stopped choosing us daily. I was the last to know. You said nothing is wrong, but I felt every change. We've been in and we just faded, and I stayed the same. If love is supposed to feel safe, why did I feel alone with you? Why did I have to convince myself that less was enough to be true? I don't blame you for leaving, I blame myself for staying. When loving you felt lonely and hope kept decaying. We didn't and we just faded. No fight, no regret, just two people doing our part, trying not to admit. Now I'm learning how to let go without hating your name. We didn't and we just faded, but I still feel the pain. Some love doesn't break loudly, it disappears slow, and one heart keeps remembering what the other let go. You stopped asking how I feel, like the answer scared you away. I felt you fading in real time, but I begged you to stay. You laughed but it sounded empty. You touched me like a ghost, You were already halfway gone. I was holding on the most. I learned how to read your silence before you said goodbye. You left before you let me go, before I could prepare. I was loving you out loud. You were already nowhere. You stayed just enough to hurt me, not enough to be true. You left before you let me go, and I'm still breaking over you. I blame myself for your distance, for every change in your tone. I try to be where you need it while feeling more alone. You said nothing's really wrong, but I felt it every night. Love shouldn't feel like waiting for someone to choose to fight. I was drowning and almost you were breathing just fine. You left before you let me go, before my heart caught up. You were already done with us. I was still in love. You held my hand through the ending, like that made it kind. You left before you let me go, and took your time leaving mine. If loving you was a mistake, I made it with my whole chest. I would have stayed through anything. You couldn't stay through this. I don't hate you for walking away. I hate how you stayed long enough to keep my hope alive and watched it fade. You left before you let me go, before I could be strong. I kept believing in us after you were gone. Now I'm learning how to miss you without losing myself too. You left before you let me go, but I'm finally letting go of you. Some love doesn't crash and burn, quiet, it breaks in two. One heart still holding on, other already knew. You said you needed honesty, then walked away from nine. You look so calm unending us, like heartbreak takes its time. I watched you fade in real time, right in front of me. I kept hoping love would change you. You kept changing silently. I felt the truth between your words and everything you didn't say. You stopped choosing us out loud, and I still begged you to stay. You left me loving you with nowhere to put the pain. You took your heart so easily. I kept mine in the rain. I was still saying your name like it meant something new. You didn't trust me with a relationship. You left me loving you. Your memories feel heavier now that that you're not here, every laugh we ever shared still sounds too clear. They tell me time will help you heal, like healing's just a choice, but I still hear you in my head, and the echo of your voice. You moved on without looking back, like love was something small. Stay behind to clean the mess of loving you at all. You left me loving you when loving hurt the most. You found your peace in walking away. I stayed with your ghost. I gave you all my patience. You gave me reasons to lose. You didn't break my heart at once. You left me loving you. With loving you is foolish. I was brave in my own way. I believed in what we were, even when you slipped away. I don't regret the love I gave. I regret I gave it alone. Some people leave your life, but take your heart as the loan. You left me loving you, and I'm learning how to stop, not by forgetting who you were, but by letting myself drop. I won't chase what didn't stay. I won't beg what never grew. You didn't just walk out of my life. You left me loving you. Some goodbyes don't sound like endings. They sound like I still care, but the hardest love to let go